Well, they wanted her to come with them that night. They were like, we don't think you're safe.
Because if she knew what he was on trial for, she wouldn't have been dealing with Brad.
I don't feel like she would have been
from
with
the
Craig.
jump.
Hey family, and welcome back to another episode on our crime series. Y'all, tonight we have a bomb story for y'all. Like, so much went on in this episode. It was super crazy. And in lieu of Valentine's Day, happy Valentine's Day, guys. We are doing a love story. A love story that went wrong.
Kiss or Kill.
Kiss or Kill is the title of this story, y'all. So we have 24-year-old April, who is this beautiful woman. She worked at a truck stop in Kansas, and every man that walked in this truck stop wanted to be with April. One particular day, this 39-year-old man named Brad walked in, and he fell head over heels in love with April. Now, y'all, that's like a 15-year difference in between them, but to them that didn't matter. He loved her, you know. So, you know, after so long, they got together basically, and after 4 months they were engaged. Now her sister was like, sis,
no ma'am,
slow it down, like you're moving too fast, you know. But April didn't care. That was her man, baby. That was her man.
That was gonna ride it out.
Period. He drove trucks, so of course he had a CDL. April decided to go ahead and get her CDL so she can be on the road with him. And baby, the rest is history.
She gonna follow her man.
Oh baby, and did. And did. So 4 months down the line, y'all, they end up getting together and moving in together. Now, within that year, they end up engaged and headed down the aisle. Well, you know you have like the bachelorette and the bachelor party. So at her bachelorette, she was looking really, really sad. And her sister was like, what's going on, girl? Like, you know, lay it on me. What's going on?
They went to the strip club, by the way.
Right. They went to a strip club. And so April was like, well, sis, you know, I'm too young. I'm only 24 is what she said. I'm only 24. We don't really talk like that. He's really secretive. So I don't know. Like she was having all these doubts already. And I feel like if you're already having them doubts in the beginning, maybe you shouldn't be getting married. You know what I mean? So her sister was basically telling her, like, sis, there's only 2 questions you have to ask yourself. 1, is he kind? You know, and 2, do you love him? And so, you know, after she said and thought about it, she was like, okay, yeah, you know, everything's going to be fine. So they proceeded with the wedding. So at this point, they're married, and April is ready to dive in. She's ready for the kids. She's ready for, you know, the married life. She wants the glitter, the glamour. She wants it all, you know. And so she go into the marriage ready to, you know, pop these kids out. And after a year or so of trying, she figured out that she couldn't conceive. So they planned on saving for IVF treatments. And here comes the issue. So instead of continuously saving for the IVF treatments, Brad decided to buy his daughter a car with their savings. And honestly, I'm like, what? Like, what made you think that would be okay?
I mean, I think because, you know, at this point, they had figured out that she couldn't, well, they had been trying for years, and she couldn't conceive. So I don't think he, like, just took the money and was like, I don't care about your feelings, I'm going to go buy my daughter a car. That's how she took it. But I think he was like, I don't know. I think he kind of felt like, well, since she can't conceive, in the meantime, I'm going to go buy my daughter a car because we got this money, but it ain't working anyway.
But my thing is, a conversation definitely should have been had in that moment. You know what I mean? Like, she really took it to heart. And, I mean, as a woman, like, who wouldn't take it to heart? Like, we're saving this money to, you know, try different methods to conceive, and you have taken the money that we have saved up to buy your daughter a car. Like, we could have had a separate savings for that. That wasn't specifically for that. So at this point, y'all, they weren't communicating. Like, communication was out the window. Like, at this point, she was basically over it. Now, keep in mind, y'all, Brad was a, truck driver, so he stayed on the road. And that irritated her a lot. She was at home by herself a lot, and of course, she got lonely. And she voiced her opinion. She told him that, like, I want you here. And Brad was out trying to get them coins. Okay, he was trying to go out and get it and bring it back to her.
Brad said skills don't pay these bills,
baby. Clearly.
And then at this point, they had moved from the small town because the town she was in was like 6,000 people here. So it was real small. It was a little small town on the outside of Kansas. So at this point, she wanted like to start a big family. She didn't want to do that in a small town. She wanted to move to the city. So they chose
Viva Las Vegas.
Sin City.
Hey.
So they went to Vegas, and that's when all the lonely stuff started happening because it was like she didn't have no family there.
Yeah, no friends. She didn't know anybody.
It was only him and her, and he was always gone on the road. But she worked at the truck stop, and she met him at a truck stop, and she married a truck driver. Did you think he wasn't going to be on the road?
That's one thing that I didn't understand because she did get her CDL. So I'm like, okay, sis, at this point, you don't have any kids. You don't really know anybody in this new city. So why would you not travel with him? Like, that was the point of you getting your CDL in the beginning. You planned on traveling with him. So I don't know where, that got off at. But, at this point, she's lonely. So she decides to get a job. She's working at this rehab, and she meets this guy. Now, this guy is an outpatient brother, and his name is Barry, y'all. She meets Barry.
Barry.
And guess what she did, y'all?
Very Barry.
She brought Barry back to the crib. So her and Barry end up hooking up, y'all, and lo and behold, in walks Brad.
The first night she decided that she wanted to smooch with the boots, and while she thought Brad was on the road. Hold on, so I guess he was gonna surprise her because she had this other man in their house, not knowing bro was gonna be at the crib.
Had to.
So
surprise! Surprises.
Surprise gone wrong.
Right. In walks her husband, Brad. And, at first he was like, Barry, can you leave so I can talk to my wife type situation. He didn't explode. He didn't do anything like that. He was really calm about the situation. So as Barry is getting his things and getting ready to leave, the husband was like, you know what?
I can't believe.
Maybe you don't have to leave. Maybe he doesn't have to leave. Maybe he can stay. And so now April and Barry are looking at each other like, well, what? What you say? He said what he said. So Barry got to stay, and they then said that Barry became husband number 2. So Brad was husband number 1, and Barry was husband number 2. So they had this whole situation going on. Like, Barry moved in with them. And yeah, that's how it went for the next few months. So after so long, April got a call from one of her old friends at a truck stop, and they were going to give her the opportunity to run her own truck stop at this point. And she wanted to do that because it'd be more money for her. She can bring her sister in because her sister was a cook, and it had a restaurant. So, she'll be around family. Barry had agreed to come along as well because he was a truck driver as well. So he was going to come along as well to be, one big happy family or whatever. So on the day that they were leaving, Barry and April were all hugged up, kissing and all this stuff. And you can tell Brad was so irritated. He's blowing the horn. He's like, girl, come on. We about to go. Like,
you give him too many smooches.
Yeah, you can do all that later.
He husband number 2.
Baby,
I'm 1.
So let's go. Let's ride out. It's time to go.
Load up. Gotta get out of here.
April gets in the truck, and Barry agrees and tell April, okay, y'all can go ahead and go. Y'all go ahead and hit the road, and I'm going to buy me a bus ticket, and I'll be down there soon. So they had all planned on, continuing this big family or whatever. And Barry ended up not showing up. So Barry was like, I'm done with this. I've had enough.
I wonder why he didn't show up.
I honestly feel like he had enough. Like, he knew. He felt the vibe. You can feel. You can tell when somebody don't want you there, or when there's animosity or something there. And Brad was definitely regretting his decision. on saying, okay, hey, let's just be one big happy family. You could tell he was agitated by a lot of stuff because April really, at that point, April really wanted Barry, but Brad was the breadwinner. You know what I mean? So, I mean, she liked Brad, she loves Brad, but she really wanted to be with Barry. So, to keep her happy and all that, he went along with the situation. But when it was time to move back, Barry was like, I'm out. So, he never showed up. And she's super, super sad about it because that's who she really wanted to be with, you know? By this time, she found out she had endometriosis. So, she couldn't have kids. She had to get a hysterectomy. And that devastated her because her whole being was to become a mother. Like, she wanted to be a mom so bad. And that dream was basically destroyed. And by that time, she was done with Brad. Like,
she wanted Brad out.
She told him, and she voiced her opinion. She was like, okay, I think you should move out. Like, our marriage has run its course. I'm completely done with it. I think you should leave.
But I think she only did that too because now she was making her own money.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah. Like, I feel like she didn't really like Brad from the beginning. Like, she enjoyed the fun that he offered her and what he brought to the table. But, I mean, even in the beginning, when you think about it, she was like, I'm only 24.
Yeah.
We don't really communicate. He's really secretive. He already had kids. He's already been married. Like, that was a thing for her. So, I feel like she
wasn't ready to be married.
She wasn't ready to be married.
Because she made the statement that he done already lived his life. I still got so much I want to do.
Right. And that came up again when he spent the money on his daughter. Mm-hmm. She was like, so just because you had kids, you decided to go ahead and take our funds for IVF and spend it on your child, but forget me, basically, is what how she was feeling, right? So, I mean, she voiced her opinion.
But that wasn't his intentions. His daughter needed a car. He felt like we can't have kids anyway, which ended up being true. So let me take these funds and buy my daughter a car. But still, conversation should have been had.
Conversation rules the nation.
You don't just like that,
don't just spend that savings that we had for this on that. So, I mean, when she said that, I was like, okay, Brad might need a,
bing, bing.
1-2 uppercut, man.
Man.
Yeah, I felt for sis.
Brad felt like he was paying the bills.
Oh, Brad better pay some more. Go out and get some more, baby, for their car.
Brad had told her, he was like, well, we got time to make more money.
He did.
It's cool.
He did. But, y'all, at this point, she was over it, So, Brad ended up moving out. And she ended up doing her own thing for a while. But she was the type to fall in love like that. Like, so quick.
That fast.
So, as she's working at the truck stop, in walks Craig.
Craig Johnson. Remember that name? Craig Johnson.
In walks Craig, y'all. And she fell head over heels.
Same thing. I mean, every man that came in her workstations hit on her for some odd reason. And I mean, it was the same thing. He made a corny, some kind of joke that they figured. I don't know. And she liked it, and that's all it took. But her sister was working with her at this time, and her sister told her off from the jump, like, I don't like his, you know what I'm saying, his demeanor, whatever it is. Y'all know, like, when you first meet some people, I mean, it ain't really judging a book by its cover, but it's like, it's something about him I don't like.
Right.
Or something about her
You feel those vibes. You feel those vibes. You know what I mean?
And she definitely got those.
The sister was like, no, ma'am. Like, he was trying to joke with her and talk to her, and she wasn't having it. Like, no, sir, keep it pushing. But the sister was like, this is my man. At this point, this is my man.
I'm talking about, like, he would text her. Well, at one point, he texted her phone while they was at work, and he was like, hey, I want you to ditch work for today because I want to kiss you in every way possible. And before she could see that, her sister had snuck over there and picked her phone up and seen it. So she put it back down and act like she was completely clueless. She act like she didn't know nothing.
And guess what April did?
Came and picked the phone up, read it, and proceeded to tell her sister, I gotta go, I don't feel good.
She pulled that number, y'all. She said, I don't feel good, I gotta go. Her sister's
already on her coattail. She already knew. She just didn't know that, but she knew.
Yeah. So she ended up leaving work that day, and The rest was history. Her and Craig became a thing.
And once again, what they do, move in together.
They moved in together.
In no time.
Yeah.
Moved in, start living together in no time.
Yeah. So at this point, Brad and April, which is, her ex-husband, they were friends. They agreed to, be friends. Brad still loved her and wanted to be with her, and he voiced that. But instead of losing her altogether, he agreed to be friends with her. So, April and Craig end up having like this game night, dinner type situation going on, and they invited everybody. So, Brad came over as well as her nephew and his girlfriend, and they had, were having a good time. And then when it came down to the card game, April made a comment like, come on, we got to get them gone. We got to get them gone. Well, Craig took that as, you want me gone. He was drinking really heavy, so he was really in his feelings about the situation, and he voiced that. And he was asking the nephew, okay, so how would you feel if, another man was fixing your girl brakes?
Yeah, okay. Because we didn't tell him that part.
Okay, so let's backtrack.
Yeah, we gotta go back a little bit. She had been asking Craig, which is the new boyfriend at this point. Mm-hmm. We on boyfriend number 3. So, she had been asking, bro, like, her van needed some mechanical work. It needed brakes. Mm-hmm. So, she had been asking him, could he get the brakes fixed? And Craig told her that he could fix the brakes.
But he never did.
He never fixed the brakes. And she kept asking him over. Craig wouldn't get the brakes fixed. So, she asked her ex-husband, which is her friend Brad at this point, hey, and they was all sitting at the dinner table together. She was like, hey, I need my brakes fixed on my truck. And he was a mechanic. He knew how to do it. I mean, he was a truck driver. He could do it at the shop. He was like, yeah, that ain't no problem. I can get the brake fixed in no time.
Right, he didn't mind,
Craig didn't like that.
Baby, Craig was like, if anybody gonna be under that car, it's gonna be me.
Whole demeanor change. Bruh got an attitude. Bruh started staring off to the left, like, they asking what was going on, and bro was like, you know what? I ain't tripping. Fix the brakes. If that's what you want to do, fix them.
That's what he said, but y'all know that ain't what he meant.
Nah. So now we at the game night where her nephew, his girlfriend, all them there. She cracked a little joke. I forgot what the joke was. It was something along the lines like, come on, we got to make room for everybody else go. And he took that as if she wanted him gone.
She wanted him gone.
So he asked the nephew, how would you feel if another man was fixing your woman brakes? How would you feel? And he kind of like, he basically was like, he wouldn't care if the brakes got fixed. I mean, but she had asked you plenty of times, bro. You didn't fix the brakes. So she need her brakes fixed. I ain't going to let my woman ride around with a truck with faulty brakes.
Period.
You know what I'm saying? But honestly, I don't think bro knew how to fix the brakes.
I don't think he did either. But say that. Or, let her know, hey, I don't know how to do this.
But even if you don't know how to fix them and Brad gonna fix them, let bro fix them. Because you don't know how to fix them. He just wasn't trying to hear that, bro.
Baby, that was his woman and that was his woman's car.
And ain't nobody fixing these brakes.
Period. So, I mean, at this point, y'all, Brad had already dipped. So, Brad was gone. So, it was really just the nephew, the nephew's girlfriend, Craig, and April at the table. After that little comment came out, Craig was like, I'm about to go to the liquor store. I'm about to go get me some beer. So, he ended up leaving. So, when he was gone, the nephew and the girlfriend was looking like, what just happened?
Yeah,
what's going on? Are y'all okay? And all this. And she's just telling him, yeah, I'm okay. Maybe he caught wind of Brad wanting to be with me or me getting back with Brad or something. So she really didn't think anything of it. By the end of the night, Craig was sitting on the couch drinking his beer. And the nephew and the girlfriend were getting ready to go. Mm-hmm. Well, they wanted her to come with them that night. They were like, we don't think you're safe. We don't think you're okay. So, just come and spend the night with us, right?
Because she had planned, though. Brad had a trial in Texas the next day. So Craig had a trial. Yeah, the drunk boyfriend number 3. He had a trial in Texas the next day. So his bags and all this was packed by the door. Mm-hmm. And the nephew and them noticed, like, hey, there's some bags packed by the door. And they thought they was her bags because they had asked. But they had already knew, like, well, if you go to her house, everything is always in its place. Like
she was like an OCD person. Yeah. Everything had a place and everything was in its place.
Mm-hmm. So they wanted to know what these bags was for. And she basically told him, like, hey, he got a trial in Texas tomorrow. and I'm going to get him a bus ticket, and I'm going to send him to Texas and make sure he get to his trial. Well, in this time, her and Brad had discussed, like, hey, when I send him to Texas on his trial, me and you going to pack this whole house up, and I'm out of here. So, basically, she was going to get back with Brad because bro was a drunk. I mean, he just wasn't it for her. He always had an attitude about things.
But the catch is, y'all, she moved so fast.
Yeah,
she didn't know who Craig was. Mm-mm. You know what I mean? So for him to be going back to Texas, she didn't even know what he was going on trial for.
She just thinking like, well, I'm going to get him a bus ticket and send him back to Texas on trial, because if she knew what he was on trial for, she wouldn't have been dealing with Brad.
I don't feel like she would have been with Craig. Jump. Yeah.
What y'all think he was on trial for?
Before we tell y'all, write down below in the comments what you think Craig was on trial for.
Because I'm going to tell you right now, if she knew what Craig Johnson was on trial for, she wouldn't even been dealing with him. Mm-mm. She wouldn't even came. Mm-mm. She wouldn't even came 10 miles near him if she knew what bro was on trial for in Texas.
Yep. So y'all don't write it down there before we tell y'all.
Cause this is gonna blow y'all mind. I promise y'all ain't. Y'all ain't ready for this.
Okay, y'all. So Craig was on trial in Texas for murder
of a young woman that whoever murdered her, they hid her to the point to where they never found her. And he was on trial for, and this was in Houston, Texas. This happened in Houston, Texas. Bro was on trial for murder of a young woman that they never discovered. And he was the only suspect. So for whatever reason, I don't know what evidence they had or none of that, but obviously he was indicted because he was on trial for murder.
Right, so, already.
And this is information that she still don't know. She in her grave right now, and she never knew this. She just thought bro was on trial. He had a trial hearing. She was going to get him a bus ticket, send him his way, and have him thinking, hey, pack your bags, you're going to go to trial and come on back. But bro knew, now that I think about it,
he had to know.
He knew what he was on trial for, and he knew he probably wasn't coming back. That's why he was drinking so heavy, and I feel like he was planning to do something to her anyway.
I do too.
Because he was getting so drunk and he wouldn't stop.
Maybe he honestly did catch wind of Brad and April getting back together.
Yeah.
Maybe he knew.
Because, I mean, you don't put nothing past him. He probably could have grabbed
her
phone.
But still, that doesn't justify you doing what you did to this woman. Like, okay, so after the friends, left.
They was getting ready to leave, and they asked her, well, they tried to convince her, really, like, come on, just leave with us, come stay with us for the night and all that, because he was physically upset, he was drunk. They already knew, like, they felt like she wasn't going to be safe there.
Right.
And they felt, talking to her and looking at her, that she was worried, but she proceeded to tell them, like, no, I'll be fine.
Right.
And they tried to convince her to just come stay with them for the night. And she just wouldn't do it. She said, I'll be fine. I'll see y'all in the morning. I'll call y'all in the morning.
Right.
Everything will be okay. So they left and they went home. And, I mean, soon as she locked the door up and they got gone, at some point of the house, that's when everything happened. That's when it all broke out.
Everything hit the fan. So Craig decided to basically suffocate April. He stabbed her in her side. He tied her wrists together, tied her feet together, and at some point he left.
Mm-hmm.
He
fled
in her van. So the next day, her nephew and his girlfriend came back, to see what was going on, to make sure she was okay, and the front door was locked.
Yeah,
that alone was a sign.
And she wasn't answering the phone or anything like that, so they figured, they had been calling her all morning.
Yeah.
She wasn't answering, so they figured, okay, we know last night things wasn't going right. We tried to get her to come stay with us. She didn't want to do it, so at this point, let's go do a wellness check. Like, let's go over here and make sure everything all right. So when he got there, I mean, I keep my door locked. He said that she didn't keep her front door locked. He said it
wasn't a thing for her.
It was abnormal for the front door to be locked. So he knocked, nobody answered. So he proceeded to open the front door. It was locked. So he walked around the house. He said she liked the natural sunlight and all that.
So her blinds would be open. Door would be unlocked. That was the thing. So when they got there, the blinds were closed. The door was locked. So, at this point, he's like, I know something's not right.
So they went to the police. They walked around the house. So they went to the police and they basically was like, hey, can y'all go do a wellness check? So obviously he thought that they could just go get in. So the police, I mean, they went out and checked. And the house just looked like it was closed up. It was locked up. And just looked like a normal home. Nobody was home. So they figured for them, everything was normal. You're not at home, your door locked. That's what it's supposed to be. I mean, you're not there, your blinds closed. You don't want nobody peeking in, so they thought it was normal.
Right.
But they informed them that that wasn't normal. So they went to the next door neighbors and they asked have anything strange happened, have they heard anything like that. And the neighbors proceeded to tell them that last night, we did hear something that sounded like a verbal altercation.
Yep.
So, I mean, but we didn't think nothing of it. We didn't go check on it, but we did hear maybe some screaming. It sounded like a verbal altercation. So, at this point, the police and them like, hey, nobody can get a hold to her. Nobody can get a hold to Craig, and she's not answering the phone. Now we know that the door should be open, the blinds should be open, all this. So, they proceeded to get crowbars. And you know how the police do. If they want to get in something, they can get in anything.
They gonna get in.
So they proceeded to pry the door and kick it open. And when they went in there, he said as soon as the door swung open, a foul odor hit him. And this cop said he had been, he done worked on cases like murder cases before.
Yep.
He was a vet on the job. So he basically was saying like he have smelled human decay. Like he have smelled dead bodies pretty much before. He said it don't smell like burnt trash. It don't smell like burnt food. It don't smell like dead animals. He said it's only one thing.
Smell.
He said it's only one thing that smells like a dead body, and that's a dead body. So he instantly knew that she was in there dead, but I mean it didn't take him long because she was in the living room. So as he walked through the front door and got to wherever he needed to be, she was laying right there in the living room, dead with her.
Laying on the floor.
Had her arms tied together. Her feet was tied together. Blood was on the couch and on the carpet, everywhere. I mean, I'm not sure if she had a bag over her head or not, but they was able to tell right there she had been suffocated with a plastic bag. And he said the whole house had blood everywhere.
Everywhere. So she put up a fight. And they basically went room to room. So she was, to me, I honestly feel like she was running from him.
I feel like she was trying to get out. Like he stabbed her and she fighting for her life. I feel like she was trying to get out and she was running to every room, maybe thinking I can get out a window, maybe I can close him out, maybe I can get out the front door. That's how they end up in the living room. But at some point he ended up catching up with her, and I mean he said she had a large puncture to her lungs, I believe, with a knife. So, at some point, if you got a puncture in your lung, you're going to collapse. I mean, like, your wind going to be gone. So, I think at that point, he was able to get her and corral her and then tie her arms and things together. And at this point, they said he suffocated her. And at some point, she still had blunt force trauma to the head.
Yeah. So he wanted to make sure she was dead.
Yeah, like, it was some anger involved in this. He came to do the job.
Right. And when they found him, he was 1,000 miles away from where she was. Yeah. So he was on the run.
Yeah, the way they got the tip was they said a store. He was in Michigan. At this point, At this point, they was in Wisconsin, and he was in Michigan. So I never been to either place, but they said it's like 1,000 miles away at these specific spots. But the way they got the tip was because nobody knew where he was at. They didn't have no phone. He wouldn't answer the phone. Nothing was on file. They just didn't know where he was at. Yeah. So at this point, they put the bolo out. They looking for her car. It was a white van. Here's the license plate numbers. All this they looking for. I mean, we got a dead body. Her car gone. So, of course, we going to get that information out. So, it was on the TV, all that. So, they got a tip from a store owner in the middle of the night. They said, hey, we have a suspicious white van sitting outside, and at some point it was reckless driving. So at that point, they know they're looking for a white van, and it's suspicious. In the middle of the night, the store owner called about this. So at some point, the officers there was able to get the license plate number, and they knew right then that it was the lady's car that they was looking for. So, I think at this point, officers on the street looking for it, and at some point they spotted him, and he pulled over when they put the lights on him. He waited till the officer got out the car and walked up to the window, and when he done that, he sped off because he knew he was on the run. He already knew. So
when they finally caught him, y'all, his thing, he said, I knew, that y'all were looking for me basically because this woman was dead. or whatever, and that's why I ran.
Yeah.
Well, he had like bloody clothes and shoes in the trunk.
Blood on his shoes. They tested the DNA. It was her blood. All this, and they asked him, "Do you know why we pulled you over?" And his response was,
this is just I'm black, and this is just."
Well, that's what he ended up saying in court. That was his thing. When they pulled him over, he proceeded to tell them they said, "Do you know why we pulled you over?" He said, "I guess because I'm suspected to have killed a white woman or something like that." Like,
now, Craig, you know you killed this woman. You know you killed this woman.
Bro, we just pulled you over, bro, and we asked you, "Do you know why we pulled you over?" And the first thing you say is, "I figured because I'm suspected to have killed a white woman." But you ain't gonna tell us that you in a white woman van.
You in her car.
And she dead. You ain't gonna tell me
you
that
got
we got bloody clothes
and stuff in the trunk.
In the trunk. Blood on your shoes.
Her blood is on your shoes.
They wasn't trying to hear it, so they took bro in. And anyway, he was indicted on murder.
Yeah.
And at the trial, he pled not guilty because he said that the police department tried to frame him because he was a black man and it was a dead white woman.
Don't pull that card. Don't pull that card because you know for a fact that you killed this woman.
Try again, bro.
You know what you did.
Try again, bro. So that's when they end up figuring out in court that bro was on, like, they didn't even know none of this until trial started. And then that's when they figure out that he was on trial in Houston, Texas for a murder of another woman. And they said it was a young lady. They didn't say if she was black or white, but obviously bro killed women. That's just what he did.
That's
like he trapped them and he killed women. And it's like, I mean, at this point he found the right one because she was the type that fall in love quick.
Yeah.
She was tired of her husband. Like she was just looking for love.
I just felt so sad for her because it's like she just couldn't catch a break. You know, so much had went on and she just couldn't catch a break. And, you know, I really hate that happened to her.
And her sister tried to tell her. I mean, she told him that. I mean, and now that I think about it, her sister, she was right. When she said that, hey, it just something wasn't right about him. Bro was a murderer, and that's what she really felt.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't right.
It's okay to get to know people. Like, you don't have to rush. Key. Like, get to know who you are dealing with. You never know, you know? You never know who you are dealing with. So he was charged with murder, and he got a life sentence. And yeah,
I don't know what happened with the second murder in Houston. They didn't talk about that because I guess it was somebody else. But I mean, at that point, if he found guilty on that, you probably should get the death penalty. We got the death penalty in Texas.
Yeah.
You can't just be killing women.
But he got what, 2nd degree murder?
Yeah, they gave him second degree.
They gave him 2nd degree murder
for some odd reason. Bro,
right.
That's murder in the 1st degree. Easy as that.
I feel like too. Yeah.
Even the blind can see that.
Yeah.
But
So yeah, he got murdered. He got a life sentence. I really hate that for her. And for her ex-husband, you know, the craziest thing is it wasn't even him.
Yeah.
You know, or Barry that did it to him. It was this, you know, This new guy.
Like the husband, they got together in weeks and all that too. And I honestly thought, starting out, I'm like, man, they done got together in a couple weeks. This man gonna be crazy. He gonna do something.
That's what I thought too.
And it was never him the whole time.
He really loved her.
He loved her so much. He let her have 2 husbands. Yeah. Where they do that at?
I don't know. To each his own, baby. To each his own. Do y'all thing. That's how y'all feel. Yeah. But yeah, I really hate that for her and for her family. And may her soul rest in peace.
Yep. And this was called this was on Fatal VOWS.
Fatal VOWS.
And the name of this episode was Kiss or Kill. Yep. And I'll link it down below as well.
Yeah. So we hope y'all enjoyed this true crime. And we will definitely be back with some more, honey, because there's a whole lot of going on or that have went on in this world. And we just want to put y'all up on game. That's it. Yeah. So if y'all like this episode and like this content, make sure y'all subscribe to our channel. Hit that notification bell. Leave us a comment down below. And come on back. Join the family. What's up, bro? What's up, sis? What's up, cuz? Also, let us know down below how y'all are doing. And we will see y'all in the next episode. Peace, love, and happiness, y'all. Happy Valentine's Day.